Hi guys, welcome back again. In the part 11 of the physiology, the respiratory system, we will continue inshallah to talk about. Okay, so here we'll discuss we'll focus on the response of respiratory system to exercise and stress. Okay, so during exercise or other stressful conditions, the body may require as much as 20 times of what? 20 times of the normal amount of oxygen. Okay, so the increased cardiac output causes what? Causes blood to stay half normal time in pulmonary capillary. Yeah, the blood is still almost completely saturated with oxygen when it leaves the pulmonary capillaries due to what? Due to an increase in the diffusing capacity of the respiratory membrane. For what? For oxygen. About what? About threefolds. Okay, about threefolds during exercise. So the reasons for this are what? Are the first one, we have what? The average of red blood cell spans approximately 0.75 seconds. Okay, so let's write down here the average red blood cell, okay, spans approximately what? 0.75 seconds, okay, in the pulmonary capillary. Okay, so if oxygen equilibration occurs in 0.25 seconds, then there is normally no increase in the oxygen content for last what? 0.50 seconds of the what? Of the transit through the pulmonary capillary. So this time provides a safety margin that ensure an adequate oxygen uptake during what? During period of stress. So this is regarding the first one. The second one, we have what? We have the opening up a number of previous dormant pulmonary capillary. Okay, so let's write down here the opening up a number of what? A number of previous dormant pulmonary capillaries, and dilatation of already functioning pulmonary capillaries thereby increases the surface area of blood into which the oxygen can diffuse. So the third one, we have increased alveolar alveolar ventilation. Okay, increased alveolar ventilation. The fourth one, we have what? More ideal ventilation perfusion ratio. Okay, more ideal what? Ventilation perfusion ratio. The last one, we have what? We have during exercise there is a considerable shift of what? Of the hemoglobin oxygen dissociation curve to the what? To the right. For example, decrease in the affinity of hemoglobin to what? To combine with oxygen in the muscle capillary blood due to what? Due to the release of large amount of CO2 acids and what? And phosphate compounds, which in addition to high temperature of the muscles. Okay, then in the lungs the events are reversed, thus the shift occurs in the opposite direction, for example to the left. Okay, which means an increase in the affinity of hemoglobin to combine with what? With oxygen, thus allowing pickup of extra amount of oxygen from the what? From the alveoli. Okay, so now let's jump to the what? To regulation of the respiratory and the respiratory center. So the respiratory cycle, meaning inspiration and expiration, is regulated by the what? Respiratory center in the brain, which is composed of three major groups of what? Of neurons located bilaterally in the medulla oblongata and pons. And these are what? Dorsal group of neurons and the neurotoxic group, and the third one is what? The ventral group. Okay, so now let's jump to the first one, which is dorsal group of what? Of neurons. This group of neurons is located in the what? In the medulla. Okay, in the medulla. Okay, in the medulla, within the nucleus of the what? Of the tractus solitarius, which is also what? The sensory termination of both the vagal and glossopharyngeal nerves, transmitting sensory signals into respiratory center. from the peripheral chemoreceptor, baroreceptor, and several different types of receptor in the lungs. Okay, so what they are responsible for what? For the basic rhythm of what? Respiration. Okay, by what? By autonomous repetitive bursts of what? Of inspiratory action potentials. Okay, so the nerve signal that is transmitted to the what? To the inspiratory muscle, through the contralateral phrenic and intercostal motor neurons, and the what? And to the ventral respiratory group, begins very weakly at first and increase steadily in a ramp fashion for about what? For about 2 seconds. Okay, so then it abruptly causes what? For approximately the next 3 seconds. So, and then begins again for still another cycle, and again and again. Okay, so the advantage of this is that it causes a steadily increase in volume of the lung during what? During inspiration rather than inspiratory gasps. Okay, so let's jump to the second one. The second group is the neurotoxic group. Okay, in this group of neurons is located within pons in the nucleus parabrachials, and they transmit impulses continuously to the dorsal respiratory group of neurons. The primary effect of this is what? To control the switch off point of the inspiratory ramp, thus controlling the duration of the filling phase of the lung cycle. Okay, this is regarding the second one. And the third one, we have what? We have the ventral group. The ventral group, these neurons are located in the nucleus ambiguous and nucleus retroambiguous. So, and is comprised nucleus retroambiguous and is comprised of the upper motor neurons of the vagus and the nervous to accessory muscle of what? Of respiration. So these neurons contribute to both inspiration and expiration. However, they are especially important in providing the powerful expiratory forces during expiration. Thus, this area operates more or less as an overdrive mechanism when high levels of pulmonary ventilation are required. Okay, so this is all regarding what? This is all regarding the regulation of respiration.